I'm Chris. Welcome to this week's tutorial. Let's draw together. In this week's tutorial, we'll be drawing a man walking in Procreate, and I'm sure you can create this too if you follow along with this video all the way to the end. It's going to be a little bit different this week. I am showing you how to use my new male body brush box. So they're stamp brushes for Procreate. They're brushes for Photoshop and Affinity as well, and they also come in Photoshop layers and Illustrator layers and PNG and PDF. So that's a lot of stuff there, but you can use them however you want. You can even print them out and use them that way. They are guides to help you learn to draw better, easier, quicker, faster, and just to get to the illustration part so you don't have to think about body proportion, face proportion, all that kind of stuff. It's just a really simple, easy tool to help you in your journey of learning how to draw better. And if you're interested in these brushes, you can find them in the description. There's a link below for you. And don't forget, once you finish this entire video, to share it on Instagram and tag me in the image as well as the description so I can find your artwork and feature you here on the next Draw Together video. For this video, feel free to use whatever colors you like. There's no color palette today, but you don't really need it. We can just jump right in by creating our canvas at 4000 by 4000 pixels, 300 dpi. We don't really need a square, but I just like to have a lot of white space, so it's good for today. Let's jump in, and I'm just gonna go and find our male body brushes. So they come in a husky build, an athletic build, and a slim build, and then there are the heads as well. So I'm just gonna go and grab an athletic body, and you can see there's 14 different body positions, and today I'm just gonna use the walking forward one, and I'm gonna have it at about 80%. So I'll just simply tap, and there he is, and then we can use our arrow to move him. So let's go grab him a face, and I'm gonna just create another layer. So I'm gonna hit the plus sign, go back to my brushes, and then go to the male heads. And here we have 14 forward facing, 3/4 looking to the side a bit, profile, and then 3/4 sort of facing down, and they all have different hairstyles to choose from. So today I'm going to just grab this mid-cut, this front facing. I'm going to have it at the same size at about, let's say 80, and see what that's like. Just tap, and there he is. And then I can move him. And I'm just going to actually make this just a hair larger for today, and just put it around there. Now you can decide how long you'd like his neck to be, but I'm going to place him there. Okay, so now we can go and just merge these two layers, and we can resize them too. We can make them a little bit bigger. Okay, and there we go. I mean, so much work is already done for us. He's all ready to go. All we need to do is put some clothes on the poor man. But you can see it really makes it a lot simpler, especially things like this where it's already figured out the foreshortening of the leg, which can sometimes be a little bit tricky, and hands, so that's always nice to have those done. So let's jump in and give him some clothes. So I'm just gonna bump back the opacity by clicking on the N, turning it down to, I'll do it at about 30 so you can see him well enough. Then I'm gonna create another layer, and we'll start drawing our clothes on that new layer. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep it just black is fine. And now we'll go into our free brushes. So just our regular brushes in Procreate. I'm going to go to inking and grab that dry ink brush that I love so much. And I'm gonna have it at about 6%. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna do sort of a collared button shirt. Most of the time that's what my husband wears, so I think he will be my inspiration today. So I'm just gonna start by just bringing in the collar here, and I would just sort of lay like that. Well, it's a little bit messy maybe, and it's gonna kind of tuck in like that. Seeing where this bends here, maybe it would kind of bend like that. And then we're gonna have this come over and come in here. All right, so it's not like a perfectly starched shirt, so you can have it a little bit wiggly. And that line would be coming here, the stitching line. Okay, so I'm gonna have this ever so slightly just off center and a little bit wiggly. And we'll kind of go like that. And this is this little, you know, stitching line here. There would be a button here and maybe here. Where his belly button is. You know what? This is probably curved a little touch too much, so I'm just gonna straighten that out just a hair. Okay. And that'll come about there. All right. I'm gonna just give him just some little lines here just to make it, you know, not too straight, just look like it has a little bit of movement to it. Okay, so that should be fine. Now I'm going to come in with the shoulders, and I'm going to make a specific little mark there. I kind of like to break that where the seam would be there, and so it shows kind of where the shoulder and the arm meet on the shirt. And I think I'm going to kind of make this as sort of a more casual look. So I'm going to have a little gathered here and more of a turned up sleeve. So I'll just bring these sort of in like that. Yeah, okay. So same again on the other side. Just going to make that seam. And then when the arms come, make a few wiggles there. That's kind of where it'll come in. Then we're going to have the rolled up sleeve. Okay. Casual shirt. Next, let's give him some pants. We'll just give him, like, obviously jeans would go well with this type of look. So I'm just going to start with the fly area, kind of bring that down, angle on up, give it a little stitch kind of in there. And I'm going to drop the crotch a little bit. That sounds lovely. Give him a little room, you know. All right, and then the folds there, and of course the stitching would carry on under here. And then there would be the lines there. Actually, I'm just going to make this look more like it's kind of coming like that. And then you have the leg coming here. Okay. Just a few creases and folds just to make it look a little bit more natural. I'm going to make it look like, so we obviously can see that knee, so there would be some folds in there. And then that pant would come around here. Again, just giving them some room. Okay. Usually a little bit baggier around the knee. These are slightly tighter style of jean, I guess. And have a little hemline there. Okay, that should be all right. So you can see if we remove the template behind, it looks like a man shape. Let's give him a few more details on these jeans here. You'll see the little bit of the pocket, I think, that would come down here. So you can just indicate that by some stitching. Like so. Okay, and then let's draw in the rest of the body, so we can just bring in these arms here. And of course you can do this more of a painted style, more realistic, more cartoonish. You can, obviously, it doesn't have to be all black outline like I'm doing. This is just more of an illustrative style. You can make it whatever style you want. At least you've got the basics to start with, and that just makes it so much easier and so much less time consuming. Especially figuring out hands and stuff like that. It can always be really fun. Okay. So, just something about the heads. The heads are just a very classic proportions. So of course not everybody has these proportions. Everybody's a little bit different, but this just gives you a really basic start so you can adjust. You know, everybody is not going to have this jawline, but you can know if you're trying to do something that's a little bit of a sharper point, a little bit of a rounder face, a little bit narrower, any of those things. And same with where the eyes and nose and mouth are placed. That will vary from person to person as well, but at least you have a starting point of something that is just sort of that basic, classic dimensions, and you can start from there. So let's just, I'm going to keep it basically what's here today, just somewhat classic shape. If I can trace anything, that would be really a miracle. Here we go. Okay. I think we'll do his head in a minute. Why don't we get onto his shoes here? So the shoes, I mean, with these feet, it actually makes it fairly simple. It might look kind of funny right now, but you'll see in a minute. You just put in a little shoe tab. We'll give him some runners, I think. Bring it around. And there, you just follow the lines, basically. I'm just going to make the end a little bit more round because this shoe would be a little bit rounder. Maybe not quite that round. And then it's going to have a little bit of a thicker sole to it. Okay, something like that. And these laces in. And then we'll just tie a little bow. Maybe add a little tag there. And there we are, some runners. Okay, good. And then this one, we'll just follow here. I have the little tab bit, the little tongue, whatever you call that. All right. Oh, there, good. He's got some shoes. Good stuff. And now why don't we go and just kind of get the face going. All right, so I think we'll give him a little smile today. So actually I'm going to start with his eyes. I'm just going to bring my pen down just a hair, just to like 4%. And I'm just going to basically follow this for the most part. I just make it a little bit more square like that. And yeah. I'm not going to go too big with male eyes just because, well, they're usually not wearing makeup, so it's a little less expressive. And if you have them too large, it does start to look a little bit more on the feminine side, I think anyways. But yeah, just keeping them a little bit smaller. Give this crease here. And again, I'm not going to do lashes, but I am just going to do the lash line a little bit thicker just with the line. That way you can get the depth, but not, you know, have all the lovely lashes like I usually do. Although I will say, oftentimes men have way more fabulous lashes than a lot of women. It's not fair. Yeah, anyway, I know you ladies know that. Well, I have eyelash envy of my husband anyway. All right, and of course, the brows are most likely going to be a little bit thicker, heavier than most women's, maybe a little slightly more unruly. It's depending on the guy, but this guy will give him a decent brow here. Probably good. I think I'm not really quite thrilled with the shape here. Again, I can go into my magic wand, grab my liquify, just make that quite its own push, and maybe to 22%. I'm just gonna maybe down even more, 13. I'm just unhappy with the edges there. I thought that was a little bit too catty or something. So, okay, that's better. Now I just fix things with my little liquify brush. Love it. Okay, I think I'm gonna give him a few lines here just because I'm gonna have him smiling, so we might have some nice creases. Like so. Okay, we'll see. Now, because we've drawn this, I'm just actually going to totally do another little cheat, and I'm gonna get this squiggly little line. Gotta figure out what that's called. And just select my eye. I'm in freehand and add, and I'm just gonna click copy and paste. And so that now I have that eye on a copy of that eye on another layer. And I'm just gonna hit my arrow and on uniform say flip horizontally. I'm going to have my snapping on and have my magnetics on so that I can simply just slide it over. And we can, I'm just trying to find where it's supposed to go. We can cheat. So I am going to change it a little bit just because sometimes it does look a little bit funny if they're exactly, but that'll happen when I start coloring and stuff. So that I think just saves us a little time. Okay. Right, so that's a good start for that. Might make some adjustments in a minute, but we'll see where we go. Okay, let's give him a little nose here. I'm just gonna do just a really basic kind of nose here. So I'm just gonna start with a little line, go up for the nostrils, give it a little darker line there, and then a swoop around. Hopefully the same on the other side. Swoop around there, just classic. I don't know if it's classic, but just like a simple nose. And I'm gonna bring in here a little bit. And around here just to give him a little bit of definition. Okay. And then his mouth, but let's do a nice smile. So I'm going to, because that a smile is going to actually bring his lip line up, of course. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to do little beans there. I don't know why I call them beans. I'm not sure that's right, but anyway. And it's just going to be a subtle swoop. And that's the top lip. And then I'm just going to, because when you smile, usually your top lip stretches out a little bit. So we're going to have it not too big here. Okay, so that's our top lip. And then the bottom lip is going to be about here. And that's just gonna come down like that. Okay, and give him a little, this bottom lip will be a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my layer below my guide layer just so we can see a little bit more. Making marks all over the place. So to do the teeth, what I do is just darken in a little ways in here, you see, like that. And then, so twitchy, just in here, I don't know, what is that, 3/4 of the way in? Just give a little triangle just to indicate those inside, what are the incisors? Oh, I should know this. You know, your little shark teeth, the pointy ones, just to sort of signify those. So that's a really simple way just to make a really easy smile without, I don't like drawing all the teeth when I'm doing something more illustrative. I think that's like too much information. So just doing that these little teeny dots and just filling in the sides just give you enough to go on, I think, to read that as a smile and as teeth. Just a little line, extra line underneath the lip just to have that shadow there. Okay, so we have a smile. That's good. Okay, and just gonna do, let's do a little bit of hair here. Actually, I'm gonna do this. Oops, I'm gonna just merge this down just because that was our copied layer, and just get some hair going here. So with the hairstyles, they're just obviously a start, a suggestion of just where things would go, and you can just fill in the rest. So I really just concentrate more on the roots at this point, just getting those lines and just the general flow in. Oops. Actually, maybe this will go behind his ear like that. I'm not going to do every hair, just sort of just a few lines just to indicate where it's going. Okay, let's see without just turning that off. Okay, well, it should be good for now. Okay, so I think it's time to fill some color in. So I'm going to go on, click on layer 1 and hit the plus sign. And first I'm going to start by filling in his skin color. So I'm just going to go to my studio pen, just right above my dry ink here, and start filling it in. So let's maybe fast forward through this because I know you know how to do this. And then just take your color and drag it in, and there we go, fills them up. Okay, next I'm going to create another layer. So hitting the plus sign, and I'm going to do put his jeans here. So I'm just gonna pick, well, a blue jean color. And then I'm going to create another layer and put his shirt on top. So I'm going to change the color in a little bit, but I'll just make it gray for now. Okay, I'm just gonna add another layer and fill these in with gray too. Okay, and I'm actually gonna turn these to white because I think I want them white in a bit. Anyway, so there we go. And let's see, maybe we should put a little bit behind his face here. So I'm just gonna go to my skin layer just to keep things organized and hit the plus sign. And I'm gonna go and make this a slightly gray, slightly creamy white color. It's not gonna be pure white. And I'm gonna go to the painting and grab my gouache and have it quite small, maybe, I don't know, 2%, and just fill in the eye. I'm just gonna make it 1% actually, and 100% opacity, and just fill this in. You just don't want it to be 100% white. It makes it look a little bit crazy. This will look more realistic, and we can use that color on the teeth as well. Okay, and while I'm here, I'm just gonna make it a little bit pink, just for the corners here, the edges. Okay. And I'm just gonna make those eyes, just gonna make them a brown color, just a gray brown color. Just fill that in. Okay, and then I'm at the very top of your layers, gonna add another layer, make it completely white, and have your brush at 1% and just do a little white dot. So you have that. So there are his eyes. And I'm just going to do a little bit of base color. I'm going to go back to the eye layer and hit the plus sign. And yeah, just with, maybe we'll have him have brown hair. Again, with the gouache, maybe at around 3%, just kind of block in this color a little bit. Don't go too far to the edges, just because we'll do that with more hair later, but just kind of get an idea. And I'm holding down my brush the whole time here. And I've picked it up again to make it thicker or more opaque. All right, and while we're here, we can make our brush smaller to 1% and just fill in those eyebrows too. Well, that looks good. We're just sort of got our basic color blocking in, and we can start adding some more depth and interest and definitely getting that hair under control. So let's go back into our layers and click on the jeans layer, the fill layer, add another layer on top and click on clipping mask. And we're gonna just make some changes here. So I'm gonna select this blue color just so I have the same. Then I'm going to take, in this view, I'm going to take this little circle and go down a little bit and to the right, so making an L shape. And then I'm going to go back into my painting and grab the Spectra brush. And I'm going to have it at, oh, I don't know, 40%, just larger. And softly dust over it, not hard, as you can see, just softly. It gives it a little bit of texture. I hope you can see that, just to make it a little bit interesting. And then I'm going to bring my brush quite small, maybe about 2 or 3, and just start doing some shadowing. So the crotch is going to be a little darker on the inside of the legs. Just because you know how jeans are, like where there are seams and stuff, it's where the dye really collects the most. So you're going to want to make that darker. You're going to have to have your brush quite small and just get in there and yeah, where the creases would be and the seams would be, make sure that's sort of your darkest area, and you can build that up too. So actually I'm going to go even darker, so I'm going to do the L again down and to the right with my little color picker and just start to get these shadows in here. Oops, made a funny line. Bring that brush up a little bit. I'm just being really light with it. I just dust it around. The shirt would probably cast a little bit of a shadow. And of course, this part of the leg would be more in shadow too. So you can really push that back, make it look further away. And sometimes where the pockets are too, like where the inside of the pockets are, really get some more dye in there, so you just want to have that. It's a little bit liney. Okay, that's probably good for now. Okay, let's get this shirt. I obviously don't like this particular color. It makes him look a little blah at the moment. So let's see, what color should we do? So let's actually just make it a white. So I'm not gonna make it pure white. I'm just gonna make it slightly off-white, slightly blue maybe. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's probably good for a start. And let's see, we can give him, maybe we'll make it, like I said, we'll make it plaid, so we'll get some stripes in there. But first I'm going to just do some shadows. So I'm going to just do the same thing, add the plus sign, click on it, clipping mask, and I'm just going to take this and down into the right, just like that L shape. I'm going to use my gouache this time, still in painting. Just maybe about, I don't know, 12%. And let's just give him some bit of shape here. So I'm having it so my light is basically coming straight like this way, so this side is more going to be shadowy in general. I just keep adjusting my brush size just to suit my needs here. Let's make it a touch darker. Just giving that darker color just closer to the edges. Okay. Right. Okay, that's probably good to start. And then I'm actually, while we're on this color, I'm just going to do the shoes as well because they will also be white. So I'm going to click on the shoe layer, click the plus sign, click clipping mask, and just do a few shadows on it while we're here. So I'm going to do it about 4 or 5%. Just giving it a little definition. Okay, it's probably good for now. And why don't we do his skin while we're at it too? So I'm going to go and select his skin layer, hit the plus sign, hit clipping mask, and I'm going to grab this skin color and go down and to the right and start making some shadows. So under the jaw, and I'm still on my gouache. Now we can use our guides to help us with the shadows a little bit. So I'm going to turn them back on. Of course we won't see them, but I'm just going to drag it above. It can go all the way above too if you want. So we can see that. So you see where these lines are? Those are actually, you know, the sides of your face. So they're actually going to have shadow on them. So, so you can just kind of follow this. So that's where your cheekbone would be, and that's where you would have that plane change there. So hopefully that makes sense. I can turn it back on so I can see. See? So now he's got some definition there. Okay, so we can make it a little bit smaller, maybe around 2. And the other thing, the really easy thing to do is just come in and make this eye socket dark, because it's going to be shadowed in there. And that'll really help bring some depth to this. And then I'm just going to follow down the nose just really lightly. See, I've got some dots and erasing I need to do. And then kind of a triangle below the nose. You can see that hopefully, and just around kind of where he's got that there. I'm going to make this a 1% just so I can get into the smaller areas. And I'm going to go down and make it darker a little bit more, so making that L, and still 1%, just a little bit more definition in some of these creases here. 2%. So under the lip would be emphasized. Oh, I know what we've forgotten. I've forgotten his smile line. That would be nice. Okay. I think this, actually I'm just gonna blend this out. I just got a little bit out of control there. Okay. Right, so, and I have that darker still, and I'm just gonna make a little bit more in his ear there. Maybe a little bit more closer to the jaw here. Okay. That's good for now. I'm gonna go back to that lighter brown that I had. So, as you can see, I just that brown I originally had for the shadows. The gouache, gonna bring it up to maybe about 4% and just a little bit on his arms. His fingers here. And on his legs here, we're gonna just give him a little shadow too. Okay, so let's just continue on with his face a little bit. I think I'm actually gonna probably make his hair quite a bit darker just because of his skin color would probably work nicely with some darker hair. So first of all, I'm gonna actually do his lips. So we can just stay on this layer, and I'm gonna pick sort of a peachy pinky color. Let's just see, it's too light. Yeah, maybe that, let's try that. Again, for guys' lips, I don't go too crazy pink or anything like that, just because probably not wearing lipstick. And then I'm just gonna make it a little darker here just to emphasize the corners. But yeah, I just don't want too much color on here. That's just for my personal preference. And then the upper lip is just gonna be a little bit darker. And then I'm just gonna take that in this color palette, just get something kind of light and just give it just a little highlight. Just gonna make this a little bit smaller. Okay. Good. So that's probably good for the lips. We can go in and I'm just gonna add another layer. You don't have to necessarily, but I'm just going to, on top of that shadow layer, I'm going to do a highlight layer. So I'm going to go back to the, actually, I'm just going to grab the skin color and have something a little bit lighter. So the opposite L, a reverse L. And let's just do a few highlights. I'm probably going to be at about 2%. And just give them a little highlights. Maybe this forehead a little bit. His cheeks. And his chin, of course. And the edge of his arm a little bit on this side. Okay, and then on another layer, just gonna give him a little bit more of a warm color, and just, let's see, just warm up his cheeks a touch here. And his forehead. Just give him a little bit of color. Hope that makes a difference. All right, let's go back to his hair color layer. And I'm gonna bring it down, just continue with my browns and just bring it quite dark. Let's see. Maybe we'll just stick with the gouache for a second here and just block this out. So I'm gonna make it darker. Just keep layering or where it's especially close to his scalp, so or where the roots are. I'm gonna make his eyebrows a touch darker too. Raise his eyes a bit. Then I'm gonna go and grab the, let's see, the old brush and bring it down to maybe 4%. That works a little bit for a can bring in our guide again. I'm trying to remember where the hair went. Okay, we can turn that guide back off. All right. And let's see, maybe the dry brush. The dry brush works nicely too, actually. All right, so I'm gonna go back and grab my into inking and grab that dry brush, still the same color, and let's just get some more hairs in here. Okay. And I'm gonna go and back to black. We put a few more. Oops. Keep with the direction here. A few more of these in just to keep working. And sometimes I find that if you have just like a few on the outside, that gives it a better look. Just sort of finishing ones. I'm just gonna make some more breaks here. I'm just gonna erase a few little bits in here. I think it's gotten a little bit too messy on me. There, that's better. Okay, I'm back to the gouache and just gonna have it quite dark but not black, and at 1%. Block in a few more dark spots here. Then I'm just gonna grab like a lighter brown just for some highlights. Still with my gouache. Just bring a few in. So let's maybe start on the pattern on this shirt. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to his shirt layer, and we can be below the shadow layer and just add another one, click on it. Oh, well actually it becomes a clipping mask if you put one below the original clipping mask, so that's no problem. So just gonna go and grab, let's just start with this blue, and then I'm gonna bring it lighter over here maybe. And I'm gonna choose my inking brush, inking pen, and let's just make a plaid pattern. All right, so I'm gonna have it at, let's see, well, of course, because you're not gonna see it there. Maybe at about 7%. Okay, and let's start this pattern. So I guess I will start here. And just following the lines of the shirt. Okay. And then those lines are going to go this way on this sleeve. Okay. And then we will, oops, start here. Alright, so now let's get these lines going the other way to make it a plaid. So I'm just gonna, simply go this way. All right, so now I'm gonna just click on the layer below and I'm gonna add some color underneath this. So I think I'm gonna go with just like a gray color, and let's see, I'm gonna grab my gouache, and let's see, make it quite a bit bigger, maybe to about 8. Sure. So I'm just gonna fill this section in, and this section. I'll make it a little bit smaller, 4, just to tuck into here. And so I'm kind of alternating, so what am I doing? All right, this section. Oops, back up to 8. Back down to 2, and I'm gonna get this edge here. We'll go in the collar as well. All right. And I'm gonna make a layer below that, and I'm gonna make it maybe a mid-tone gray blue color, and I'm gonna come in and fill this in. Every other one. Okay. So we are getting a plaid look. Let's get. Oops. Okay, and then lastly, back to that blue stripe layer, I'm just gonna go white and grab my inking, the dry ink, and just do, I'm gonna be at like 4% and just put a little thread through all these squares here. Okay, And then I'm gonna go this way as well. Okay, I think we've achieved a decent looking plaid there. All right, what else can we do? I kind of want to make these just a little bit darker in here in those shadows. So I'm going to go back to that shadows layer. Just pick up a dark navy color, I guess. Go back to painting, go back to gouache. Bring it down to about 2. And just make these creases here a little bit more. Just want to have that arm pushed back a bit more than it is right now. All right, so of course we could keep going and going forever, but I think that's good for today. That gives you an idea of how to use these brushes. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you did, please hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of new tutorials just like this one every week. I post one every Tuesday. So thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.